With the Optimus Plus sound level meter, you can change quite a number of things on the system. There are two ways of doing this. One is to use the menu button, and the other is to connect it to Noise Tools, which we'll show you in another video, where you can change a lot of the settings in here and even more than you can do through the menu button. But it all depends on what you want to do. The very simple fact with the Optimus Plus sound level meter is if you leave it as it is, all you're doing is pressing start and stop, and you're actually generating a number of measurements in a very, very simple and straightforward way. But sometimes you might want to change things. So let's have a look at the menu system. So it's this soft key here in the middle under menu, and here is the menu system. To get to the different options, you just press the arrows, and that will take you to each of the different boxes. And what I want to do is to go through very briefly what each of those boxes does. So let's start with the first one in the top left here, which is restart. That will restart your measurement from scratch. So if you have a measurement that's running at the moment and you don't want to save it, you can go into menu, press restart, and that measurement will start again. The next one is review stored data. You may have taken a number of measurements on your instrument and you want to review them all. So selecting review stored data will allow you to go through all of the measurements you've taken and see what the results are, rather than waiting until later on, until after you've downloaded them to Noise Tools. So to select any of these, either press the select button here, the soft key, or the middle button. So now you can see I've gone straight into the measurements. The next one I want to show you is clear memory. Now, this device has a huge capacity. It's got 8 gigabytes of memory, which means you can store about 81 days of continuous data. That's a lot. So unless you clear the memory from time to time, you're going to build up a huge number of measurements. So it's up to you when you clear it, but if you select the clear memory option, follow the simple instructions and it will clear out all of the measurements. Just make sure that if you want to save any, you've downloaded them to our Noise Tools software first. Let's go down to storage options. Now, because it's got a little sort of flap on there, that means there are a couple of extra screens. So let's select that and we get a slightly different menu popping up. Let's go through these very briefly. So the first one is voice tag. When you start a measurement, voice tag is turned on. You can record your own voice to link that to the measurement you've just taken. If you don't want to do that, you can select voice tag here and turn it off. The next one is single timer. With any measurement on the Optimus Plus sound level meter, you're pressing start and you're pressing stop. With a single timer, you can set a fixed amount of time that you want this to run for before it stops automatically. So you may want to start a measurement and it automatically stops after, say, 5 minutes. And you can do that with a single timer button. So let's select this, and you can see you've got a number of options there for you to actually select for the single timer. So it's selected 1 hour at the moment as an option. So if I click mark, that's going to turn this single timer on, and then I can go up and select which one I want. Let's select the 1 hour mark. I'll press OK. And now we've got a single timer on, and you'll notice that on the top of the screen there's a little clock symbol on that top line. The little clock symbol tells you that the single timer is on. So you only need to press start. It will automatically stop. Let's turn it back off again. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to select unmark, and I've turned it off. Let's click OK, and now that symbol is gone again. If you have an environmental Optimus Plus sound level meter, you get another option there, which is a repeat timer. And the repeat timer allows you to start and then stop and start and stop your measurements sequentially. So if I'd selected 1 hour, I could press start on the meter and it would run until the hour boundary, stop, and then automatically start again. So you get a set of measurements each 1 hour long. And that's a repeat timer. That's available with the environmental Optimus Plus. The other one on here we've not looked at yet is the time history rate. Now when these units come out of the factory, they're all set to log data every single second. So you've got what's called a time history of all the decibel values that your particular meter has been selected to store, and it will store them every second. Let's have a look at what the options are here. We can select it to store data every 2 seconds or every 1/10 of a second, or if I go down to page 2, all the way down to 1/100th of a second. So there's a lot of flexibility here if you need to store the decibel data much more frequently than every second, and that's where you would change it. So we'll just cancel that. So these are the storage options. Let's go back. We have some view options. Press select. And here you can set the level colors for this bar on the left hand side, You can set the date and time format to the way you want it to be. So for example, if you're in America and you want the month and the day swapped, you can change that in here. You can adjust the screen brightness from here. You can actually show what weighting or time weighting you want on the screen. Most people choose fast, but if you want slow or impulse, you select it there. That doesn't mean to say it's not storing that data, it's just what appears on the screen. And of course, the one that, unless you really know what you're doing, you should never change, of course, is set language. So you can change it to a number of different languages, Italian, French, German, Spanish, etc. Just remember, once you've changed the language, the whole system will reboot. And then if you've just been playing around with it and you don't know the language you've just selected, trying to find where to put it back again can be difficult, so be very careful. But we have a number of languages in the Optimus Plus, and that's where you change it. So advanced options. Here, again, this has got a number of different options. Press select or press the middle button. So here we can restore factory settings. We can turn Bluetooth on, because remember the Optimus Plus sound level meter has Bluetooth connectivity, so you can control this unit through an app, start and stop and look at measurement data on your phone while you're physically removed from the Optimus itself. There will be a specific video on this. We have a pause here. It's not something that everybody uses, but when you press start to start a measurement, you will automatically see a stop button. But if you turn the pause on, then what that means is, instead of it saying stop as an option once you've started a measurement, it'll say pause. So that can be quite handy sometimes. If you're taking a measurement and you want to take a phone call, you could pause the measurement, take your phone call, and then resume the measurement. So if you want to have pause as an option on the instrument instead of just stop, then you turn the pause on. And finally, AC out. We have an output here which you can put through to headphones or record the audio directly from the instrument, and that tells you how to set it up in this particular option here. We have some quick settings here. Let's press select. We can set these meters up to monitor noise for a number of different territories. It's primarily for occupational noise, and the way that we calculate somebody's dose will depend on the different ways that each territory mandates that you have to do it. So generally speaking, all of the UK and Europe is very, very similar, and these units, if they're sold in the UK, would come out set up as UK standard, but if you need to set the standards differently or customize it, you can. Let's go back, we'll cancel that, we don't need to change it. And finally, we've got set clock. So if the clock needs changing, highlight that, select it, and you can go along and change the date and time very, very easily. So those are the different menu options. There are more options available, as I mentioned earlier. If you connect this to Noise Tools, you can change all of these configuration options. The way most people use these instruments is they tend to use it as a standard way straight out of the box. But if you do need to set it up in a different way, then you can do it on the meter or via Noise Tools. And those are the different menu options.